estates traverse the length of the Sri Lanka's low country, mid-country, and going up to the highest elevation at Piduthala, where P2 estate is located. We cultivate tea, rubber, oil palm, and cinnamon, amongst other major crops. We have large extents of forestry. We have in our portfolio 18,000, almost 19,000 hectares of cultivated cropland, and we have a resident population of 140,000 people, whom, as the saying goes, we look after from conception to the grave. So we provide total social services, HR facilities to this population of 140,000, although only 23,000 people really contribute their labor to the estate enterprise. We have 51 factories, and we provide some of Sri Lanka's iconic and world-famous black tea along with some rubber. As you can see, we provide about 6% of our national output in tea, about 5% of the raw output, with a complement of 125 management staff, with about 1,500 estate staff. Our journey in HR began with winning the National HR Excellence Awards from this institution in 2016. And along the way in 2016, we won 2 gold awards and 4 silver awards at the National Business Excellence, which was followed up in 2017 by winning a record number of 6 gold awards, 3 silver awards, altogether a total of 13 awards, along with Excellence Bronze Award. Not only are we winning the National Business Excellence, we have displayed our all-round capability in winning State People Development Gold Award, Global HRM Award, South Asian Business Excellence Award, and the Asia Pacific HRM Awards. And the high point of our HR intervention amongst our workforce has been the fact, and that has been manifested in our company's pluckers, the workers, winning the first, second and third place at the celebrations and the competitions to celebrate 150 years of Ceylon tea, which I believe is a unique achievement. The 3 pluckers from our sector, our companies, won the first, second and third place. And we were fortunate to bring them along to Colombo and to have them meet the Hades Group Chairman, Mr. Mohan Panditike. Along the way, we celebrated excellence of the workers' outputs by having a field performance celebrations day, as you can see from the pictures in Hatton. Before I hand over to my colleague, let me assure you that not only have we excelled in HR, the plantation sector has excelled in winning gold medal awards in sustainability, corporate social responsibility, in green practices, and needless to say, awards for quality in manufacturing. Let me now invite Mr. Anuruddha Gamage, our Deputy General Manager of HR, to take you through the rest of the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Roshan Rathore, the Managing Director of Hades Plantations. Continuing the success story of Hades Plantations on great HR practice, we extracted from our unique model of people management. Way back in 2013, when we reformed the Human Resource Division in Hades Plantations, with a well-defined vision, our total people management approach is equal to conceptual HRM plus human care. Not only for 23,000 workforce, but it's also for 140,000 plus plantation community from birth to death. With a clear, defined HR strategic plan, we identified the most concerning point in plantation HRM is the performance management. Yes, of course, it's a question mark. It doesn't mean that in plantation industry, the performance management not undertaken, we didn't mean the question mark, it was never happened, but the problem is the data accuracy and the transparency in the system. So, scrutinizing the facts and figures, we identified the challenges in plantation sector in respect of performance management. The number one is cultural challenges, then the challenges in application of performance management system, then the inherent negative approaches, and the transparency challenges. Last but not least, accuracy of data. So, moving forward, analyzing all these facts and figures, we define our new innovation of performance management for entire workforce, starting from the managing director downward the ground level worker. We call it UI identifier. We have three main pillars of human capital, that is our management and executives, non-executive staff who are working in our estates, and the manual workforce. How it operates. If you analyze 150 years of plantation industry, the most important operational data captured through the manual systems, where from the field it comes to the checklist and checklist transferred to the estate office, where all the data recorded manually, and most probably these comparative reports are coming to the corporate office after a few days or after a few weeks. The decision making is really slow. So, dreams to reality in plantations, the digital era. We created a new history. We rewrite the new. We have written a new chapter in plantations by using the information technology. How to capture the sensitive points in performance management. The new system, we have given a smart card with NFC technology for each and every employee, and also to the field we have given the electronic weighing scales, where never ever even Mr. James Seller, the founder of tea plantations in Sri Lanka, realized. So with that system, when the harvester reads the green leaf, and hand the green leaf on the electronic digital scale, and when the employee touches the card, the system card, directly that data goes to the system, and as and then the data transferred to the system where we are monitoring at the corporate office in strategic locations. So this is how the data transit performance management system what we introduced. And at the corporate level, we have given this monitoring system in managing directors room and all strategic locations where we are monitoring the performances. And also we have given the latest tabs to our estate managers and assistant managers. Wherever they operate in their estates, they can monitor what is happening in their estate within the same day. Even the strategic shift we have taken, within the day, the managing director's comments are going back to the estate. That is very much helpful for us to take the decisions, the speedy decision making. So it increases the transparency, speediness of the communication, and most importantly, the accurate decision making. So all this operational data we have taken for the mid of year and the end of the year performance evaluations for manual workforce, and also the second most important segment is the non-executive staff who are working in estates, the clerical, supervisory, production, human development and supportive. Those operational data we have linked to the internal tool we have developed to do their performance appraisals. So the third segment, the most importantly the management and the executive staff, we have introduced the HRIS, Human Resource Information System. So virtually, our main objective to capture the real performances down from managing director downward to a ground level employee. That is our approach of identifying the performances of the employees. So you can have the world-based system, but if you can't link those operational data, the performances into the business, real business indicators, so that is where we are going to share the quantitative results. As the managing director explained, we have a lot of awards and accolades on the qualitative basis, but in terms of quantitative results, we never, even with the crisis situation, we never cut down our T&D budget. 2015 and 16 was the crisis for plantations, especially because of the erratic weather conditions and the market crisis. but you can see the trend, how we have invested on training and development. Also, on the numbers, we have increased year on year 20%, at least 20% increase on train headcount and train person hours. Every year, twice we used to do the employee satisfaction survey, and last it has recorded 62% the overall satisfaction rate. And also, you can see the employee turnover rate. Nearly by 50% we have reduced the turnover rate. And the absenteeism rate, the most important factor for the productivity in plantations, you can see the downward trend. And the most important business parameters, output per employee in rubber and tea, you can see the upward trend. So, as an example, if you take a same harvester in tea, then and now, you can see the increase, at least it is 1-to-1. And motivated employees has given the best raw materials for us to produce the best quality tea, and which has given the end result of increasing the gross sale average. And as Hayes plantations, all three companies have recorded the first, second and third places in GSE ranking high grown category. For today, you can have the best approach, the framework, but how it is tomorrow, how it will be tomorrow. So that is the sustainability of initiative. We have approach for that also. We have introduced key value driver for each and every employee in 3 languages, English, Sinhala and Tamil, giving clear direction for them how to drive their performances and how to link their performances to the business productivity indicators. And we have introduced the target cards for the managers, assistant managers, staff categories and employees. They know what to do, how to do, and when to do. So that is our total approach of performance management that we call UR Identify. So I would like to invite you to a journey to Hayes plantations. Please join with me. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, coming up next is something we've all been longing for every year, and of course that is the great HR debate finals. And I'm sure all of you will turn the pages of time. I'm sure most of you have been involved in debating even during your college days. I love debating, and this is something I'm longing to see. So ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome the members of the audience here today to the Great HR Debate 2018. And of course, we are about to witness an exciting contest between two of the country's leading corporate entities who have made it to the finals of this great contest. The event, ladies and gentlemen, is sponsored by Career 141, an executive search and recruitment consultancy company. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sri Lanka's only debating competition on HR. And of course, as the nation's leader in HRM, IPM Sri Lanka continues to initiate novel edutainment events such as the Great HR Debate and of course, the Great HR Quiz, with a view to promoting this ever-evolving discipline as well as to encourage continuous professional development of the members of the fraternity. Ladies and gentlemen, the Great HR Debate was initiated by Mr. Chandrasiri Hemapatini, a renowned HR professional, a fellow member and a council member of IPM Sri Lanka, with a view to promoting further learning on HR. This exciting program has since been embraced by the HR fraternity and today has become a very popular feature in the National HR Conference. But for your information, this year 10 teams participated in the debate and finally, it was the best of the best. MS Capital and Toyota that made it to the finals after an exciting battle during the preliminary round. So everybody, put your hands together for MS Capital and Toyota. But first things first, very important to introduce you to our distinguished panel of judges. Right, let's invite them on stage, or rather invite them to be judging. They'll be there, seated out there. We'll appreciate if you can please stand up. They are Mr. Sarat Jasingh, a council member, IPM Sri Lanka, Group HR Director, DSI Sampson Group Private Limited, Chairman of the panel. Also on the panel is Group Captain Manoj Kapitipola, Honorary Editor, IPM Sri Lanka, Officer Commanding Personal Services, Sri Lankan Air Force Base, Katunayaka. Let me also introduce the next member, Dr. Neil Boghalanda, Council Member, IPM Sri Lanka, Head of Group HR, Royal Ceramics Lanka PLC. Ms. Darshi Tabaheva, Head, Group Human Resources, Corporate Communications, Sustainability, Group Security Head, Group Legal, Member of Group Management Committee, Haley's PLC. Mr. Prasad Purigala, Organization Human Resource Director, CMCT Cement Lanka Limited. Professor Prasadini Gamage, Professor Human Resource Management, Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, University of California. And our next judge is Mr. Sunil Visanayaka, Director, CEO, VMICH, Chairman, Sri Lanka Institute of Tourism and Hotel Management. Mrs. Nilanti Chartelaka, HR Consultant. Mr. Murali Prakash, Group Managing Director, CEO, Chapraben Holdings PLC, Lanka Century Investments PLC. Dr. Prasad Madawata, Group Chief Executive Officer, Lanka Hospitals, our final judge. Right, so we've met the most important people, our distinguished panel of judges. Right, ladies and gentlemen, to take it over from here, let's welcome on stage Mr. Ronald George, who will play the role of the moderator, and Mr. Kevin Pereira, who will be the all-important timekeeper. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together, give them a round of applause. Yes, the friendly battle is about to begin. So take it from here, everybody, put your hands together for Mr. Ronald George.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are here for the great HR debate, and we'll find out whether digital HR is an imperative and not an option. We started off with 10 teams and we're down to the last 2. Well, this team, they started off beating one of the champions, which was Nations Trust Bank, and they went on to beat last time's runner-up Yatel. Put hands together for Mars Capital. So they will be proposing, and we have the opposing team was also done excellently well. As we said, we started off with 10 and they are down to the last 2. They started off beating Mars Metlia, and the last win was against Sri Lanka's biggest bank, Bank of Ceylon. Put your hands together for Toyota. So we have both the teams on stage. Let's move on to a little bit of the formalities as to how this will take this forward, and then let's commence the debate without further ado. So the objective of this debate over the last, I think, more than 10 years has been very simple. It is about creating HR network. It is about creating awareness in current HR issues. And I believe over the last few debates, these teams are all the more richer for taking part. The debate will start with the proposing team and also end with the proposing team. Each member will have 5 minutes, and at the 5th minute you will hear the bell by the timer, and thereafter every 15 seconds a reminder will be given. May I request both teams, when you hear the 5th minute bell, to start winding down your speech. From the 6th minute, if you hit the 6th minute, you will be penalized. And of course, if you still keep talking, we will have to get the security guards of the BMICH to escort you out of the stage. Right, and once the 4 speakers are done, we will move on to the opposing captain, who will give his finishing remarks. He will be given 6 minutes, and then we move back to the proposing captain. So these are the simple rules of the debate. I think we have had a clean competition over the last 1 month or so with all the 10 teams. But just to keep things simple, once again, please make sure that there are no insulting remarks, jokes against a person's culture, race, religion, gender, or sexual orientation, which may be construed as harassment. Also make sure that there are no offensive remarks against the opponent's organization. Use of documents, articles, or any published material of the opponent's company is strictly prohibited. Do not use profane language, and I'm sure with this audience, I know it's tempting, but please don't use this as a political platform. With that all said, I think we're all good to go. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together once again for these 2 teams, Mars and Toyota. With that, may I invite the captain of the proposing team to start. Over to you, sir.
Learned judges, respected opposition and members of the audience, as the leader of the proposing team, it is my absolute duty to ensure that I define the topic at hand and then move on to the premise of this debate. The topic at hand has digital digital HR, transforming processes by embedding, keyword embedding, not forcing, not shoving down the throat, but embedding technologies such as social, mobile, artificial intelligence, cloud, analytics and automation into the fabric of everyday business. Some part of the business? No, everyday business. Enabling HR to be strategic. In other words, in simple terms, what does strategic HR mean? It means digital HR means digital components of HR are embedded into the everyday life and make sure that HR is more strategic and efficient. So, I would like to establish our first premise of the debate. What is the first premise? Digital HR does not mean human factor or the human factor will be replaced. It means there is a marriage between the two. It means digital components will ensure that it works in collaboration with the HR fraternity, with the human factor that continues to remain. So therefore, HR functions such as learning and development, recruitment and selection, performance management, these things will continue with the human touch, but also with digital input and digital intelligence. Digital HR can be broadly categorized into three main components as per Dave Ulrich. Dave Ulrich says there is process digital HR, there is functional digital HR, and there is informational digital HR. Let me clarify these things to you. Process digital HR means there is process optimization through things like SAP, Oracle, Workday, Excellent that we know locally. Then there is functional digital HR, that is Internet of Things, big data, machine learning. These kinds of things help you with the functional work that you do in HR. Then comes the final component, which is informational HR. That can be broken down to things like cost, structure, organizational information that is at the fingertips of the Chief Human Resources Officer who needs this information to play a strategic role in the boardroom of tomorrow. Now that digital HR is out of the way, let me quickly move on to what's imperative is. Imperative, Cambridge Dictionary says, is extremely important or is urgent. We looked it up on the Oxford Dictionary as well. Oxford Dictionary clearly says imperative means crucial. Now I'd like to establish this fact. Imperative does not mean it is mandatory. It means it is essential. It is crucial. I'd like to quickly move on to what optional is. Optional means you have a choice. You can decide whether you want to take it or you don't want to take it. Therefore, the topic at hand today is whether it is essential to embrace the digital input, digital solutions that are being provided by digitization into HR, or do we have an option and say we don't take it? I have a resounding answer. The resounding answer is that yes, it is absolutely imperative for us to marry the concept of digital into HR. Therefore, digital HR is not an option, instead a mandatory factor. I'd like to clearly explain to you one other factor. The second premise of this debate is that digital HR does not mean you have to embrace everything that is there in the menu. It means you can embrace some of it. You can embrace what you want and ensure that the efficiency is driven and the human factor is augmented and efficiency is driven. So therefore, we have learned, as we have learned and understood and practiced, HR has two main fundamental responsibilities. First fundamental responsibility, to ensure the well-being of the people. Second fundamental responsibility, to manage the workforce and ensure that the organization's efficiency performance is driven. So let me quickly explain to you in 5 ways how digital HR becomes imperative for HR to play these two-pronged roles. The first one is that digital HR drives accurate decision making. Through things like attendance systems, KPI calibration, goal setting, you are able to compute and arrive at accurate decisions which otherwise will be driven by gut only. What do you have? Do you take out gut? No. You have gut, you have fact and figures to back up the gut and the intuition thinking that the HR folks will have. What is the second option that we're talking about? It drives efficiency. Automated payrolls, you have digital sorting of CVs, button push engagement systems. In the absence of all of these aforementioned digital solutions, you have HR folks attending to repetitive, mundane work. Do we want to continue to do that? Absolutely not. We want to ensure we play a strategic role. Therefore, you have to embrace this. The absence of this means every month there are several weeks that somebody is going to pay attention to the payroll. If you want to run an engagement survey in a factory where there are 1,000 people, then how many man days are you going to waste? No, the solution is digital HR, which will continue to drive efficiency and help you play a strategic role. Then you also have standardization that comes through digital HR. No matter where in the world you are, no matter which location you are in, you are able to roll out fair, equal, and baseline learning and development solutions, performance management solutions, and you are guaranteed that everyone is treated fair and frequently. And then you come to the digital experience factor. Today, everybody is gone mobile. Everybody is using a digital platform.
You're carrying a mobile phone, I'm carrying a mobile phone. If the audience is going mobile, the experience has to be mobile, which is why HR has the responsibility to ensure when the world is going digital, do you have an option but not to go digital? Hence, ladies and gentlemen, the premise is absolutely clear. The premise is digital HR is no longer an option, but is an imperative. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those opening comments. We'll give the judges a minute to tally their scores. May I invite the opposing captain to state your views? Over to you, sir.
Albert Einstein said imagination is more important than knowledge. Respected judges, IPM members, my respected proposing team, as well as members of the HR fraternity of Sri Lanka. We are here today to talk about digital HR, an imperative, not an option. But from what my proposition captain spoke about, I think before we leave this stage today, we will all end up using HR because they are in such a hurry to make the case for HR. Let me quickly start by definitions from our side. Cambridge Dictionary definition of option, the same as what they have. One thing that can be chosen from a set of possibilities, or rather freedom to make a choice. The same Cambridge Dictionary defines imperative as an essential or urgent thing. Yes, of vital importance, crucial, our proposing captain said. We agree. Now, let's come to where the differences start. What is HR? Let's not talk about HR of the past. We are here today in the 21st century, and according to Mercer, human resource is a business function that prioritizes requirements, allocates and aligns limited resources to deliver human resource services that contribute to the people strategy that aligns with the business strategy. Simply put, it provides a signature employee experience and provides a new value, not the same old value, not added value, new value to those stakeholders within the HR realm of the business. Right. What is digital HR? According to a leading website related to the latest news on human resource technology known as digitalhrtech.com, they define digital HR as a process optimization in which social, mobile, analytics, and cloud, often referred to as SMAC technologies, are leveraged to make HR more efficient. So now that we got the definitions out of the way, let me quickly tell you. Global Human Capital Trends report from Deloitte 2016 reveals that 90% of leaders rate building an organization fit for the future as a key priority. 90% of the leaders of key organizations, they say building an organization fit for the future is the key priority. However, the most alarming factor is less than 14% of these leaders believe that they have the capabilities to do so. What happens to the remaining part? My next point, Josh Bersin from Deloitte is claiming from a study, Deloitte and MIT study, where 85% of CEOs worry that disruptions in the digital domain will impact their business operations and upturn the business model. They are scared if the business will continue or it will shut down due to disruptions. I think most of those CEOs have attended to forums where, like my proposing captain, spoke very fast and scared, fear-mongered them into doing something that they don't really believe. Let me take you back. What is essential in an organization? They mentioned the word crucial. Is crucial more important than optional? From the English that I know, I guess it is. Right? So, what are we here to tell you? Digital HR is only an option, not imperative. That is the topic here, ladies and gentlemen, not imperative. So, I am here today to ask you, will digital HR replace the benefits given from employee brand, work-life balance, training and development, Are we going to ignore the fact of employee career progression, rewards and benefits, job security, corporate culture, or rather inspiring leadership? What about employee engagement with guidance? These are the important tenets of HR as we knew it in the past, as we know it today, and as we will know it in the future. This will not change, ladies and gentlemen. Digital HR is merely a tool used to enhance. It is one of the tools, like my other tools listed here. It is not imperative. Okay, if I'm saying this is not imperative, what is imperative? Our stance on the matter is competitive advantage of the human skill. That, my ladies and gentlemen, is the imperative factor that we are talking about. This is aligned with the business, and this is where we're going to take beyond human resource management, beyond human capital management, to human emotion management. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll give the judges a minute to tally their scores. May I invite the second speaker of the proposing team? Madam, over to you.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, and members of the judging panel, as well as my friends, now that the ground is laid down with all the definitions, I think it's easy for me to pick on where it was stopped. And let me pick on the simple Deloitte report that you had picked up. The Deloitte report 2016 is what you quoted. And here in my hand, do I have the Deloitte 2017? What does it say? 72% of the global employers, that is, we're talking about 7,096 respondents, have felt digital HR is important or even very important for an organization to progress. So I feel I've got the very latest fact where I can really place it on the table just for you. Moving on from that, what exactly is it that we are talking about? Getting that place for HR. HR, what is it expected to do? We want to win the talent war, number one. And two, we want to ensure the HR has the place in the board table. Three, what else is there that we can simply think that HR is definitely going to do to the organization? It's definitely going to build the organization so it can take a good look at the people as well as give back to the society as a whole. For us to ensure, we have to make sure the HR has to be there to ensure that the people are empowered, they have the right, they have all the liberty to decide on where they want to go and where they want to progress. Why do I say that? Is it just my opinion? Definitely not. Let's move on to the Mercer report of last year. What does the Mercer report say? Mercer says that HR is totally driven on the platform of the talent trends that is taking the toll on the whole world. The talent trends that we are talking about definitely is just 6 of them. One, it says the talent process itself. What is talent process? Yes, we are talking about the functions of HR where they are being processed. So the time of the person, a person in HR, is freed up from the mundane tasks so that the person can give better to the society as well as the employees in their role. Second, we are talking about tech and digital. What does it mean? Yes, all of us know we are talking about the millennials, we're talking about the Gen Z and the Xers and the Ys, everyone coming in together. Aren't they far more tech savvy? They are people who eternally want something, especially continuous learning on demand. If continuous learning is to be given on demand at their time, at their pace, what happens? It becomes something that's possible only through digital HR, because HR here uses the digital, mobile, and all the social platforms to ensure this definitely happens. And also, what happens is when it becomes tech savvy and digital, people are looking at better forms of making use of the data and information, how fast they get the information and how fast they can process, get the information, retain it, and use it for better purpose and multiple purpose. Let me move on to the third premise, which talks about workforce analytics or talent analytics that we may call it. Why is it important? Once again, we come back to the place where we are talking about talent war. When we are talking about talent war, it becomes very critical for us to know where is the talent and how mobile is the talent, what are the obstructions for the talent, and for us to know what the ROI is on the talent. Yes, we need to have all the data and information in our fingertips. And how is it possible? Definitely through the interconnected, interrelated digital HR. Let's move on to the fourth one. We are talking about localization. Hopefully, that is a term that's been coined, and I'm not too sure if it's there right now in the dictionary. What does that mean? Where MNCs, the multinational corporations which are working right across the borders, are ensuring their global practices are made localized within the talent framework, within the legal framework, so that they can give a better option to the people to ensure they move borders, they cut borders without defaming anybody. Let's move on to the next trend that we are talking about, branding and talent acquisition. What is this especially important for HR? Yes, once again, we fall back to one thing. That's about the war for talent. Right now, people are really looking forward to that one little experience. What is that experience? Employee as a customer. For someone to be treated, an employee to be treated as a customer, he needs to know, yes, HR of this organization takes care of me right from the time I click the button and set my CV until the time I finish off my employee life cycle. Let's move on to the final one. Yes, we are talking about the capability building. The capability building, where do I say it comes in? Yes, HR is not the only function that is being bestowed with the responsibility of making sure the people or the managers are mentors and coaches. Everyone has to do that. For them to do that, what becomes is HR has to free up the time and move on. And for that, digital HR paves way and gives time for HR to do the best for the organization and to take it forward. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. We'll give the judges a minute to tally the score. May I invite the second speaker of the opposing team? So over to you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me define again the term digital HR. Digital HR we see as a process optimization in which social, mobile, analytics, and cloud, we call SMAC, technologies are leveraged to make HR more efficient. My dear captain in the proposing team mentioned, through digital HR, we won't lose the human touch. If you are not losing the human touch through digital media, we could have done this debate today in front of a camera, and you all could have watched this debate from your work premises. And also, my dear second speaker mentioned that she referred to a digital Deloitte report 2016. If you refer that particular report, in the bottom of the report, there's a small circle. It clearly says only 8% of companies who have already started this HR digitalization process. If you can just refer that particular report, there's a small circle in the bottom. It clearly says only 8% of the companies in the world who have started this HR digitalization process. So how we can tell digital HR is an imperative, not an option? As my proposing captain clearly mentioned, we can't just talk about HR without talking about the business. Now, when we talk about the business, it's the digital platforms and the digitalization is important for the business. So there's a case as HR, as an incubator, we have to support the business purpose. So we have to start the HR digitalization. And also let me refer the Mercer Report. What is HR top priorities? As a team, we believe today we have missed something because all people are talking about technology and digital HR. But as HR practitioners, our purpose, our objective is to unlock the potential of people who are working with us. I think we have misled. We are always talking about technology and we are talking about digital platforms, and we have lose our beloved employees at our workplaces. So these Mercer reports tell us what are the key important elements or HR priorities we should focus on. The first thing, developing leaders for succession, building skills across workplace, attract top talent externally. So I would like to ask from my beloved captain from the proposing team, if HR is if digital HR is an imperative, so how we are going to address these elements? These are our top priority as HR practitioners. So the research which I have done on digital HR, the key element of digital HR would be to create a better employee experience. Again, Mercer, 2017 report, it says, what makes employee experience? They talk about offer more flexible work options, enable quick decision making, understand my unique interests and skills, actually support innovation, focus on my health and wellness. These are the key important elements which drive employee experience. They also talk about 61% of employees, they talk about employee well-being. 23% talk about employee wealth. And 16% talk about their career. So I think as HR practitioners, our focus should be employee talent and skills. We believe digital HR might help you in few ways, but the core would be harnessing employee potentials who are working with us in our workplaces. So to conclude my remarks, I have a humble request from you. You just take few seconds and go back to your all workplaces and think where we stand today as Sri Lankans in HR. Is digital HR is that the digital HR is our priority today? No, it always serves as option. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Over to the judges. Let's move on to the third speaker of the proposing team. So over to you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and learned judges and my opposition team. So, our leader said the disruption is not coming. Let me take all of you to the digital disruption that's happening around the world. As of today, the internet penetration in the world is 4 billion plus. That is more than half of the world is getting digital onto the internet. And when it comes to social media penetration, where we live today, Asia Pacific, and Asia is rapidly growing at a 90% pace. And when it comes to e-commerce spending, where people are going to go online by 2025, 75% of the people are going to purchase online. My friend, the whole business setup what we have been living in is getting disrupted. It's not that it's been talked in conferences and all, it's actually happening. If you take the Gartner report, which surveyed all the CEOs around the world, and it was very clear to say consumer is changing, business models are changing, and the ecosystem that we are working is changing. So 42% of the CEOs said we have already started the digitalization process. So in the context, the whole business, the connect that you wanted to make HR to business is changing. I would take a very simple example from today itself, how Haley's connected digital HR into their performance management. If they never had that mechanism of right technology at the fingertips of the tea pluckers, and if they did not have that data, if they did not understand who's the best talent in there, they couldn't have won the game. They showed with data and facts how the performance of the business has increased. So there's a very simple example, all of you to understand. So when it comes to digital HR, I am going to take a very simple, different approach, because we debated on the Mercer Report, and let me take the KPMG report. And it is also very clear to say 60% of HR teams globally has moved to redefine their processes through digitalization. That is a fact. And 51% of the businesses are changing their business models into digital. And 33% of the HR teams globally has using one or another form of artificial intelligence. And 40% of the HR communities are using mobile technology to deliver their services. To my friend, it's not something that's going to come, it's already here. And when it comes to very simple statistics in terms of what the world is going to, if you take not only the large organizations, but even the small organizations using some form of digital technology now to make talent efficient. So if you want to make the right decisions on talent, you need to know the talent. The best way you can know the talent is where the talent is interacting with digital platforms and the information is at your fingertips. Providing a digital experience to the workers, digital experience to the millennials. If HR's team is not driving the digital strategy, you said digital strategy has to be supported by HR. If the HR team is still using Excel, if the HR team is using papers, if HR team is not digitally enabling their processes, how can you go and tell this is not coming? Are you going to tell, no, we are not moving, you guys move? To the rest of the organization, are you going to tell, look, HR, we don't want digital technology, please you use it, we will be working as how we are. So it is very imperative that HR should drive the journey and go forward and be the catalyst of digital in any organization. So let me come back to the points that you are bringing. So one point is disruption is on the way and you can't deny it. And you were, the teams very clearly said it's about process optimization. Process optimization is one element of digital HR. My leader clearly explained to you, it's about process optimization. Process optimization is going to give you information, and that is how you become digitally connected to your decision making. And at the same time, the process of digitalization will also enable different functions. Using artificial intelligence in recruitment, it's going to save your time. Looking at performance management and career succession, if the processes are taken off, the mundane processes are taken off, all of you here today will have more time to engage people, more time to go and talk to people, more time to identify the specific talent. And when it comes to the HR digitalization process, it is not that we have kept it out, it has been already started globally. There is no doubt to say the Sri Lankan fraternity as well as the global fraternity has started their digitalization process. One form or another. The digitalization process has no limits. The artificial intelligence capabilities, the digitalization capabilities are rapid growth. By 2012, the machines has the ability to learn from data, learn from itself. So it is very imperative that HR will use digital technology as an enabler to provide the best services to the people, organization, and the community. So therefore, it's imperative we embrace digital technology and we drive the organization through digital as a catalyst, as HR. If we do it, rest of the organizations will follow. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll give judges a minute. May I invite the third speaker of the opposing team? Over to you, sir.
Honorary members of the jury, members of the proposing team, and ladies and gentlemen. My dear friends, we are here at the National HR Conference. It is not necessary for all of you guys and myself, as HR professionals, it is not important for us to explain what HR is all about. HR, my dear friends, is dealing with human beings. HR is getting the maximum benefit, or rather giving reasons for the human resources, the employees, as to why they need to give their best for the organization. That's what we as HR professionals do. My dearest friends, the proposing leader, in his first speech, he mentioned that if digital HR is an imperative, he defined imperative as extremely essential and important. And again, he himself said that digital HR is not a must. You have freedom to decide whether to use or not. And that is the exact definition of an option that he himself said. My dearest friends, the problem is this. We do not agree that digital HR is not needed. That is not our stance. My dearest friends, please do understand, we don't say that digital HR is not needed. It is needed. But my dear friends, we as HR professionals, what we do is, we decide how to get the maximum benefit of the creators of digital HR. To create digital HR, what is essential? What is imperative to create digital HR? That's what we are talking today. My dearest friends, why are we here today rather than having someone who's developing softwares who are seated here today? Yeah, there might be few. Yes, I do understand, because everyone as human beings, we deal with human resources. Yeah, it is important that we stay here. But my dear friends, organizations organize these kind of conferences to human beings, again, HR professionals, because exactly as the third person himself said, the world is changing into a digitalized way. My dear friends, but the problem is this, the HR functions can be HR functions can use digital HR as an option. But my dear friends, the world is changing. That is why the very reason that we say that human creativity, human innovation needs to be there, my dear friends. My dear friends, let me present to you a case where a neuroscientist, Antonio, presented in one of his writings. He presented about a story where a businessman lost his abilities to feel emotions because of a brain tumor as a result of a surgical operation that happened. He lost his emotions. What happened in the next very moment onwards, his innovative skills got lost. The reason why they understood by observing Dr. Antonio, after observing him for months, days and hours, having discussions for hours and hours, what he understood was he didn't notice sadness or frustration or any kind of an emotion. My dearest friends, all what he did was, he was just an uninvolved spectator. All what he did was circling deliberations, but he used all past information, and what he was doing is the same thing repeated again and again. My dear friends, digital technology is based on logical thinking. Updated, or rather uploaded to using access to data. What they do is they give us logical solutions, but human resources, we humans are not just logical thinkers. We have a fact called emotion in our decisions. We need to address that. To address that, my dearest friends, that's why we say, yes, digital HR, using it to measure, using it as a measuring tool, or rather a communication tool, that might be true. That is essential. That's why we say that it is an option. We don't say no. But my dear friends, we need to decide how to define this information that we get, how to use this information that we get through digital HR or any other means of digital platforms. My dearest friends, the change was there in the past, present, and even in the future. It will be there. But my dear friends, the change is accelerating. The change is becoming more faster. Very soon, the Fortune 500 companies will have just 15 years maximum time of maximum 15 years. A CEO's tenure will be limited just for maximum 3 or 4 years. My dearest friends, the world is changing, our human ideas, our emotions are changing, and our requirements change. Businesses need to change. Businesses need to understand the importance of, should understand the new business opportunities and should cater that. And for that, what is important is to bring competitive advantage through developing human skills, not just digital HR. My dear friends, the stance of the opposing team is confirmed. It has been proven. Digital HR is not an imperative, but an option. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Over to you, sir, to continue with the proceedings.
Thank you. Over to the judges. May I invite the fourth speaker of the proposing team? Madam, over to you.
Learned judges, members of the House and members of the opposition. The first speaker started off with a lofty idea. Our new imperative today is to harness the competitive advantage of human skills. Agreed. That is what we are here to do as HR professionals. How, I ask you, are you going to get there in today's day and age? Let me enlighten you on the creators that you speak of today, the creators of all these things that you speak of today. Who are these people? Let me enlighten you. Today, we work in an era of digital natives, of technologically savvy young women and men who have grown up with easy access to the internet, who expect to work in ways that are open, social, mobile, and flexible, who expect those experiences from their workplace, who expect the same tools that they work at home to collaborate, to integrate, to share information, to be available at their workplace, who expect their HR human transactions to be always mobile, always in demand. And you speak of creating experiences, you take away that experience from these creators, that people. Are you really harnessing their competitive advantage? My friends, I think you have really understood the talent that we're speaking of here. The talent today is digital. It is already digital. And you, as very rightly mentioned, businesses are changing. Businesses are already digital. Let me drive one more point back to you. HR is in a shifting paradigm. We are still fighting for a place at the table because of our softness, because of the subjective nature of our initiatives, because of the qualitative measurement of our impacts. Now, when digital HR provides you, as my first speaker said, optimal possibilities of achieving driving accuracy, efficiency, standardization, etc., going beyond the traditional KPIs of absenteeism, LTO, and actually giving behavioral statistics, while also creating employee experiences, while also fostering interdependence, while also fostering collaboration, creating dialogue, yes, which HR is supposed to do. When it can do all of that, how can you look a gift horse in the mouth and say, no, it is not of utmost importance, I will choose to decide whether I want to take it or not? My friends, there it is when we say that it is of crucial importance. Whether you choose or not, well, that is depending on how you wish to play the game. One more point the first speaker mentioned. 60% of HR professionals have been scared into moving into areas that they're afraid to embark on. That, I believe, is because we are not fully aware of what digital HR is. Digital HR does not isolate. Digital HR does not disengage. We are living in an era where technologies are developing to cater to, yes, social, human, emotional needs. We are speaking of platforms that foster collaboration, orientation platforms, for example, that my second speaker mentioned, that increase dialogue. So in situations like that, do you really think that we can say that, no, this is a choice I want to make? Ladies and gentlemen, the choice is not because it is not a good thing. It is not because it's not an utmost and crucial importance. The choice is because you are not in a position to embark on that journey. Because leadership misalignment, because legacy systems and old traditional ways of thinking do not allow you to embark on that journey. So is digital HR an imperative? Yes. If you consider talent is digital, businesses are digital, can HR choose not to be digital? I leave that question up to the audience. So again, once again, we are here to talk about whether digital HR has proven itself time and time again that it will bring that productivity, bring that efficiency, bring that collaboration here to the table. Thereafter, where do we say that this is not going to, in flexible workplaces you spoke about, the experiences. If it is not through digital HR transformation, how do you hope to achieve this? How do you hope to keep track of remote workers, gig economy workers who are working in different places? If it's not through this platform, digital HR is a means to this gain of achieving a competitive advantage of human skills. Digital HR is that which will give you that edge to be able to do exactly what you said. We are not here to argue. We are not. The fact that you prove that does any business have only one crucial business priority? No. Gaining competitive edge, yes, is a priority, but does that prove that digital HR is not a priority? I'm afraid not. It is, again, as time and time again that I mentioned, it is merely a means of achieving that gain. And if you choose to say, no, there is a better alternative in this day and age, I will definitely rest my case. So here, once again, let me prove to you, ladies and gentlemen, if you care about your business, if you care about your employees who are customers who, yes, needed to be given exemplary experiences, digital HR is that which will take you there, and therefore it is an imperative that is which will help our profession survive. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Over to the judges. May I invite the fourth speaker of the opposing team? Over to you, sir.
All protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen. I will take you through a journey from thousands of years back. We've lived in an agricultural economy for thousands of years, and then industrial economy for 200 years, and then moved on to a post-industrial economy for 45 years, an immortile economy for another 25 years. And then, somewhere around 1995, we found out that we will live in a metaspace economy, and we defined that we will live in this economy for another 12 years. What is this? The implosion of time of the greatest of things, which is called templosion. We don't know what the immediate future beyond these 12 years brings us. We are already, mind you, after 6 years of this era of templosion. What I'm trying to tell you is my proposing team, beloved, learned proposing team, they know about disruption, digital disruption. You said that digital disruption is already there. The digital infrastructure is already there. The AI is already there. What AI could do, like including the cloud, the data in the cloud, and how AI can read that, and machine learning can bring you superior results. Of course, we agree. But then templosion. What would be our future jobs? We are looking at our generation, or you and me in the future, working for jobs that does not exist today. We are looking at a generation in the future who would not know what to do in the future. The world's biggest problems will become world's biggest business opportunities. When the world's biggest problems becomes world's biggest business opportunities, it's about helping 1 billion people, not about making 1 billion money from just a business, but helping 1 billion people and making that 1 billion through $1 per person, but helping them to solve a problem. You might think, I'm sure the captain looks at me in a very confused manner. I'm sure you're confused, because this confusion is there even not within me, with everyone. Where do we stand? Where does the HR function stand when all of this digitalization, all of this digital infrastructure comes into new companies? There are more than 3% or 3% companies in the world, and more than 40% of the companies in Silicon Valley operates without the function of HR. Of course, using the already existing digital HR. So, why do we say at this particular point, in some part of the world, when digital HR is already existing, do we need to put old wine into a new wine glass? We are talking about the future. Ladies and gentlemen, the power of human mind is the most important thing. Identifying that innovative skill, the creative skill, the problem-thinking skill is the most important thing. How do we do that? You ask this question. Now, in a Singularity University Summit in San Francisco, a participant asked Peter Diamond, is the co-founder of Singularity University, in a lecture, what would be the key skills of young generation? And especially, I want this question to be answered by you because I want my kids to study them. And he said, we are living in a VUCA environment, volatile, uncertain environment that we don't know the future, what will be the future for us. And he answered, creativity, creative problem solving, and then innovation. Creativity, problem solving skills, and innovation. These three are the major components for the future. And identifying them, harnessing them, that goes beyond AI, beyond machine learning, will survive your company in the future. Now, when they say that the digital infrastructure is already there, when we are to harness the business advantage over this machine learning and over the other companies who can simply use this as an option, what should we do? We should find and work with this talent who can go beyond this AI, who can go beyond the machine learning through the power of thinking. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm giving you a picture of two gentlemen. One of these people lived in a prison for a number of years, and with no access to technology, no access to the new technologies, that digital or anything. But through the mind power, through the power of his mind, he was able to collect and connect an entire nation, who's none other than Nelson Mandela. And then the other person who's born with an illness, trapped in a body, he needed all types of technologies in the world to be able for him to think and inspire the world, and they inspire the universe, who's none other than Sir Stephen Hawking. Ladies and gentlemen, whether there will be technology in the future or not, whether there will be digital in the future or not, there will always be work, there will always be human aspect that we can harness on. Take this into your mind and work on the human innovative skills to make your business forward. That is the imperative, not digital HR. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Over to the judges. So we'll be summarizing the debate, and in order to summarize, may I invite the opposing team captain to summarize, and he will be given 6 minutes. Over to you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not good with people, and you don't fix that, but you go behind a tool such as digital HR, spend bucket loads of money, and then sit 5 years later and think, hey, this is not giving us the returns that we expected. What's going on here? Are we here to talk about that, ladies and gentlemen? Because we have 4 speakers from the proposing side who have already spoken about, none talked about the cost of this exercise. They talk about a world which has mobiles in everybody's hands. All of you all have mobiles. Let me bring them to the attention of a Deloitte study which they have many copies of. Let me point them to the direction of this. All of these programs which are supposed to be social media are actually addictive. These engagement, employee engagement, customer engagement, all of these engagement things are addictive. Who really profits from this? Please tell me if the HR profits from this. Does your organization profit from this? Only if you're the organization who controls the social media. The study says, in USA, every single day, employees are looking at their phones 8 billion times. More than the population of the world right now. 8 billion times you're looking at your mobile phone, just in America. I'm sure in Sri Lanka the past week we looked at the mobile phone a lot. Question is, are we getting anything out of this? For ROI, for profitability, are we getting anything out of this? And Deloitte in their study found this. In the fourth industrial revolution, since the advent of internet and social media, productivity has not gone up significantly. It's remained stagnant. So ladies and gentlemen, we live in an age where it's consumptive technology. They are calling it collaborative, sharing, all that. Yes, so many ideas are bounced off. How many are implemented? I want to change the world. I want to be a politician like Donald Trump. I want to do this. I want to do that. How many actually do it? This is where we are. We are not in a, they call it a lofty ideal. We are not in a lofty ideal. We are in a pragmatic business environment. We need to generate profits for a business to sustain. And as HR, we provide the best talent to do that. Let me take you to a world-famous author called Tim Ferriss and his book, The 4-Hour Workweek. If you all have the time, please read it. It's a fantastic book. He wrote the book just because he wanted to travel and learn. In the 4-Hour Workweek, Tim Ferriss basically breaks down 3 things. Again and again, their team talked about efficiency, 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 efficiency. Where is effectiveness? Where is effectiveness? Let me tell you what Tim Ferriss says. Be effective, not efficient. Validate all your business ideas. Validate it. See if the business idea is feasible, whether it's going to bring some result into the organization. Charge a premium to make your life easier. Ladies and gentlemen, all the big tech companies in the world, Microsoft, Apple, if they used AI, as they rightly said, will revolutionize. All of these people are using it apparently. But their study, on the bottom of it, 2017, it says only 8% of the world companies. So because 8% of these MNCs who have a lot of money use it, does it mean that 92% of us should swallow it? No. Let me tell you. In Microsoft, Satya Nadella, he's an Asian CEO who rose to the ranks from the bottom. From the age of 22, he has been in the company. For 20 years, he's moved up the ranks. He has worked in every department there is. And then he got to the position. If AI were to recruit Satya Nadella, he would have been rejected. Because his keywords, nothing was there. He was a simple immigrant boy who had not much knowledge of the US. Right? Then we talk about Apple. When Steve Jobs passed on, he gave the torch to Tim Cook and Johnny Ives. Johnny Ives was a designer. Tim Cook was a supply chain executive. A supply chain executive, my dear ladies and friends. In any company, do you feel a tech company of all places, a CEO will be somebody who is from supply chain? Will AI give us that knowledge? No. Machine learning is a repository of already existing knowledge, what we know. But the human mind is capable of creativity, problem solving, and innovation. The 3 most required skills that my friend spoke to you about from Singularity University. They are talking about as if the whole world has gone into digital exponentially. Let me talk to them about smart mobiles. Jimmy Quick, if anybody has time, you all have smartphones, go on YouTube, Google this guy's name, Jimmy Quick. He is a world-renowned lecturer on brain power enhancement and how to speed read. And he said, we have a medical term for people who are addicted to mobile phones. It's called digital dementia. You are dumbing them down. So what he said is 10 people went to a restaurant. They had a meal. And what happened at the end of the meal? 3 people took out their phones to divide the bill out of 10. So are you talking about these people who are flexible, who want to stay at home, who want to always be on social media? Another example. Japan, they were the world's 2nd largest economy, and now they have been superseded by China, right? And they are using these technologies a lot, but they have found that they are not productive at all. When compared to 10 developed nations, they were the least productive. So ladies and gentlemen, let me end my case here to tell you, digital HR is an option amongst many options. You can't make a marriage with 5 people. We have such options. Marriage happens only between 2 people. So what we are trying to say is, digital HR is an option. not an imperative. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to the judges. So once again, to summarize the debate from the proposing side, may I invite the captain to summarize the debate on his part. Over to you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are about 4 main arguments that were presented by the opposing team. Let me take them one by one. One of the main arguments is that artificial intelligence cannot hire. Artificial intelligence or the technologies that we've been speaking about cannot replace the human factor. What happens to emotions? Can emotions be replaced by digitization? Absolutely not. Which is why I draw you to the main definition that we have presented to you here today. Transforming processes by, is it replaced? Does it say mandatory? Does it say shoving down the throat? No, it is embedding. What does that mean? Working in collaboration. Let me emphasize to you, the judges and the audience, at no point are we saying human factor will be replaced. We are talking about embedding them. Marriage between digitization and the human factor. One of the other core arguments is that human capital is the advantage. Absolutely right. However, we are not here to debate and talk about what? We are here to talk about the how factor. Hence, the how factor is the digital HR phenomenon. Digital HR phenomenon which enables the management of the very advantage that you spoke to us about. Second key factor is that. The third key factor is that I like the fact that you're promoting IPM and the conference, giving out so many examples from the conference. Therefore, I thought, why not me do that too? You did mention, why are we not doing via VC? Because if digitization means everybody can stay at home and watch this. Remember, embedding, collaborating both. Therefore, they are seated in front. Here it is augmented at the back. Therefore, my friends, the marriage between the two versions, digitization will optimize and augment the real life experience. Well, my friend, last speaker, low blow by commenting about my looks. Actually, my look was not in confusion. My look was in absolute dismay because I had to listen to philosophy up here on stage today. First speaker, low blow on the pace. My friend, world is evolving really fast. I think you might want to catch up because digitization wave, those who don't catch up, just like the ones who are seated across the table, those who don't catch up will perish. And they are the ones who you referred to as the whatever the percentage, who says that we don't need to adapt digitization. Third key point was that. Fourth key point, rebuttal point provided to you was the cost. How can digitization be cost effective? Where are the profits coming from? Well, my friends at Haley's, please do ask them. They are the ones who portrayed here on stage how digitization is driving up profits for them. And the efficiency, the standardization that is driven by digitization and the embracement of digital HR are the ones who are going to pay that check and the bill. Now that the 4 main rebuttal points are out of my way, let me move on to the minor points that were mentioned. Limited resources are available, therefore business resources should be optimized, is what the first speaker mentioned. Absolutely right. I can't remember the last time I agreed with people on a debate this much. Yes, to optimize what? How do you do it? That is where the digital HR processes come in, my friend. And you quoted the 2016 Deloitte report when we had the 2017 Deloitte report. And it was funny that we had to go back and forth with the years because digitization is moving fast. Next year, you might have the 2018 second version of the report too, because that's the wave of digitization. And I absolutely love the fact that you asked these people to refer their mobile phones to peruse something that you wanted them to peruse. Because digitization is right there with you in the pockets. If the digitization is right there with you in the pockets, is digitization an option? Absolutely no. It is an imperative. Second speaker did mention that only a few have adopted. And there are people, small organizations, that was a core point actually, small organizations who haven't adopted and they're still absolutely fine. Yes, that was like when the telephone came. Few people had it. Today, do everybody have it? Absolutely yes. The small people who didn't adopt, i.e. the Mudalalis of the 1980s and 1990s, do they exist anymore? No, they have been taken over by the PLCs. Hence the need to evolve. and adapt digitalization and the digital HR point of view. You all spoke very boldly about creativity and innovation. Yes, innovation and creativity is a human trait. We are here to talk about the management of the human trait, management of the human capabilities. Friends, it is there that digital HR comes into play. It is there that digital HR becomes imperative. What is the opposite of digital HR? Just HR? No. Opposite of digital HR is analog HR. Hence, we cannot go back to the analog era of HR. That means all of you will have to go back to the workbook, the square rule workbook and the single rule workbook. No, we are embracing it. And let me further drive this point home. All organizations in some shape or form are embracing digital HR. How so? Because your payroll is sent to the bank via an email. Payroll is automated. On the other side, your computation of basic data is driven by Microsoft Excel. Very basic form of digital HR, my friends. You have a thumbprint. That is the very basic element of digital HR. Third speaker came up with a fantastic new definition of HR, which puts Armstrong and Dave Woolrich to absolute shame. Digital HR or HR is about two key functions: management of the key resource, management of the key resource to ensure organizational benefits are driven. So, if digital HR is not an imperative, instead an option, why on earth are we having this session as transformation of HR in the digital world? I rest my case.
Friends, we have had an exciting debate. We started off saying digital HR is an imperative and not an option. So we went into various sides of it. We had, and over the debates, I must tell you that the first round of debates, I think the Oxford Dictionary was used the most. Today, I think it was the Deloitte report which was used the most. 2006 and 2007, those reports I think were actually digitalized and consumed by both teams. We also had an interesting debate on the VUCA world. We also spoke about a 4-hour week, which book I will buy and introduce it to my boss, hopefully. We also spoke about, one thing I was confused about where we said new wine in old glasses. I'm sorry, but I got only water. I don't know if you have wine. Hopefully we can have wine probably later in the evening. But I think overall we had a wonderful session. And also I think in 1974, I think they had this amazing event between these two famous people, who we all know. One was Muhammad Ali and other one was George Foreman. And they nicknamed it called Rumble in the Jungle. Well, today we have two heavyweight companies, and today I think we also saw another Rumble in the Jungle. A big round of applause to Mars, and of course a big round of applause to Toyota. So that's it from me. Thank you to both the teams, and of course the winners will be announced subsequently at the event and over to our compere. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ronald. I think, ladies and gentlemen, we witnessed debating at its best. I think we need to put our hands together and give the two teams another round of applause. Well done. And the judges, of course, I'm sure would have found it very difficult to decide on the winner. Okay, we're taking a break now for 30 minutes for tea. We'd appreciate if all of you can get back in 30 minutes. Thank you.